Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to our final episode in our limited series, Looking to Sunday, the season of Advent. And we have two more special guests with us here today. From our pastoral team, we have Reverend Philip Galyon. Woo-woo.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. For those of you that have not met me, I am over youth and college ministry at Johns Creek United Methodist and have been in this role for about 3.5 years now. And so it's a good time. If you ever want to come see what we're doing, come check us out on the third floor, Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. It's always a fun time. And I think they have, they being teenagers, they have the ability to make people laugh, whether they're doing funny things or stupid things, or maybe a little bit of both. But it's good to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. And from our music department, we have the organist and associate music director, Justin Bowen.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm the associate director of music and organist here at Johns Creek. And a part of that role is that I accompany traditional worship on piano or organ. I also accompany the chancel choir. I direct the Joy Singers, which is our senior adult choir that meets on Thursday afternoons and performs in the community. I also assist with the youth choir and various other things throughout the week. You know, we have a great team here, and we all do a whole lot of things. So yeah, it's the best time of year for music. So I'm glad to be a part of this.
And the busiest time of
Yes.
year. Well, we're happy to have you. We're happy to have both of you here. I know we had expected to have a different special guest this week, but due to some scheduling conflicts, Justin was so kind to step in and say, okay.
Absolutely. Be more than delighted.
And we are happy to have you. So, and it gives everybody an opportunity to get to know you a little bit. So, as the newest member of our directors team.
Right. Yeah, Philip did say that. I've been here since July of 2024, so I'm about a year and a half in at Johns Creek. So.
And he hasn't left yet, so that's a good sign. He hasn't run screaming from the building.
Everyone's taking care of me. So.
That's good to hear. If not, you're like, I'll tell Meg on you.
Yes.
You better watch out. We're going to start with an icebreaker question. Are we ready for this?
Yes, let's do it.
Oh. All right. Share a memorable Christmas party experience you've had.
So this one came most recently this past Sunday night at our youth Christmas party. Back in September, our middle schoolers helped Mr. Justin actually put new prayer cards in our pews as they were getting ready for the new bulletin rollout. And one of our middle schoolers had left his phone on the chancel. And so as I was helping supervise them, I said, oh, look, there's a free cell phone laying there. And so as any good youth pastor would do, I started taking ridiculous looking selfies with that camera phone and didn't think anything of it. And during our white elephant gift exchange on Sunday night, one of our youth pulls out this picture of me, and it's just me making this ridiculous looking face. And I said, or to myself rather, I was like, where did that come from? And then I realized, oh, that was that night. What had happened was that this particular youth whose cell phone I took pictures with had made my face in a picture frame his white elephant gift to share with the whole youth group. And so it was one of the more creative gifts that we've had, not only at this church, but like in my 13 years of ministry. It was really well done. So I think it's definitely more memorable than most.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to be watching kids open their gifts, and there's your face.
Like their youth pastor's face right there. And the funny thing is, during the white elephant, I was joking with them, like, you should try and get a better gift. Like, no, I want this picture.
It became a thing.
It was funny.
Christmas parties. So I'm a pianist, so I play more Christmas parties than I attend. And the most recent one that I played, I guess there's none that I've played this year, which has been great for the schedule. But last year I played one, and it was for another church group in the North Atlanta area, and there was like a Sunday school classes Christmas party, and I was to play while they were eating and milling about, and then there would be a time of caroling, which is always a little daunting because what does that mean to them? They did have songbooks, but the songbooks did not, there was only lyrics. And what ended up happening was I became the pianist and song leader and song chooser. So I I realized as I left that, I was like, I really should put together like a solid caroling packet or at least set list or something like that. But it's a fun time of year for music, both sacred and secular. So playing things like that, I have a lot of fun with because it's great music, and you can hit people with nostalgia at all turns. And that's so Christmas party, piano playing, of course. What a boring answer.
No, I don't think it's boring because I think music adds so much to those kinds of parties. And I think that what you specifically offer just helps set the mood. It helps the atmosphere, and every well done Christmas party that I've seen has some sort of like piano or music accompaniment. Accompaniment. Never mind. You're gonna mix.
That
you know what? No,
word.
keep that in. Yeah. That word. But it's like those are really cool. Yeah. Like those are core memories that I think you keep for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think my most memorable Christmas party was my husband and I, Andrew and I, are very involved in churches and always have been, but a lot of times we're in different areas. So we're, he helped with the youth, and I sang in the choir, and so we didn't always roll in the same crowds. So there was a Christmas party that we went to where I was on staff at a previous church, and we're literally standing next to each other having this conversation with this guy, and all of a sudden he's like, so, Andrew, are you married? Like, you have kids? And we kind of look at each other like, yeah, we're married. Have been for a really long time. And they're just like, oh, so, yeah.
That's hysterical.
Well, yeah, but honestly, it happens here too.
Mm-hmm.
He volunteered, he kind of got volunteered to help out in traditional worship, I think last Christmas. And he came in the room as the cow with his like tie-dye T-shirt on, and was Peace Sunday. And Max's wife, our senior pastor's wife, was like, who is that guy? And Max is like, that's Jen's husband.
No, I feel that because with my spouse working at a different church, it's always fun when either I walk into her church or she walks into here and nobody has a darn clue who either of us are at either church. Like ecumenical spouses are super interesting. And for a little bit of context, my wife is the associate pastor at Christ the King Lutheran Church in Peachtree Corners, about 7 miles down the road. And so it's always a fun time when they're like, oh, wait, your spouse does exist. So, yeah.
You didn't just make them up.
I think it's part of church work, that phenomenon. So
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, the next question I have is talking about family traditions. We've had a lot of different ones shared with us. Everybody has shared also about their favorite Christmas movie, because that seems to be a pretty common tradition, watching, those holiday movies together. So who has a fun family tradition, either from childhood or as an adult?
Yeah, one of my fun facts is that I grew up in a denomination that doesn't have instrumental music, which people always love because I'm a church organist now, so it's really a 180.
Yeah.
But all that to say is that denomination also traditionally doesn't do Advent or Lent or some of the more high church calendar sort of things. So Christmas Eve for us growing up was all about Santa and family. That was what we did. We went to my mom's parents on Christmas Eve and my dad's parents on Christmas Day, and all of the same people were at both of those events. So I didn't grow up, like Christmas to me growing up, of course it was all about the birth of Jesus, but like we didn't have like all these wonderful church events like we have here every other day of the week. But we have, so like we grew up watching all like the classic claymation, Rudolph's and Santa Claus is Coming to Town and those things. And I think that there's been a lot of, at least even for my family in Tennessee, but also now my family with Avery in Georgia, as I have become a church musician and gotten into church music, there's a lot of traditions that have come out of that. So there's, within Methodism even, there's the concept of a lessons and carols service. So there's normally a lessons and carols in some capacity that we try to attend and not be a part of each year. So there's one this next weekend that we've been able to make for our calendar. So we've been able to maintain that. So I'd say that's the big one, other than just trying to squeeze in Christmas movies or things like that. A lot of baked goods and stuff, the classic stuff. So.
Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Oh,
or is there like a list?
Yeah, I grew up on like a lot of the Home Alones. There's a more niche one called Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, so
and that
good.
I think I was like grew up at the right time where that one was there, and it is solid gold. It's really weird, but it's a great movie. So yeah, I feel like some of those classic early 2000s Christmas movies.
Yeah. Growing up, my dad was a United Methodist pastor, and my mom was a children's director. So like, the busyness of Advent, I don't know that I'm numb to it anymore, but I'm definitely used to it. And so like traditions weren't really, because we moved around so much, traditions didn't really stick all that much. I think a couple of things that like were pretty consistent in my family was on Christmas Eve, after my dad's last Christmas Eve service, like whatever that was, we would come home, or if it was a later service, my dad would come home and we would all open one gift before, like on Christmas Eve. That was always a big thing. And then we would go over to my grandfather's house for Christmas Day, usually. And we would open gifts and cinnamon rolls and orange rolls and all that stuff. But we would read the Christmas story out of the King James Version, out of like my great-grandfather's Bible.
How proper.
Like, yes, very proper indeed. And so like those are some things that are, well, a lot of things changed. Like those two things didn't seem to change, or at least from what I remember, at least. And as far as Christmas movies go, so in there's a partial staff group chat that we communicate back and forth about a lot of different things, and we were talking about the Grinch movies last week, and I think my favorite Christmas movie is the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think it's the best Grinch, and I'm looking into this camera right now saying like that is the best Grinch.
Uh-oh.
The animated one, it's just too short. Like, for me, I think I need a little more length in my telling of the Grinch, and I don't know why that is, but that's just might be a hot take that I have.
We talked about that a lot. I think some of it depends on when you were born, like how you were brought up and what seems more natural. And I think, those like 30, 40-minute movies or something that were very popular, when I was a kid, but to my kids and people a little older than my kids, that like a movie is supposed to be at least an hour and a half long. Otherwise,
like all the classic Charlie Browns are like, didn't this just start?
Just started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they would put it together with something else usually when they aired it, so that it made a whole special in and of itself, but a bunch of little pieces combined to make the overall special. So I guess I'm the oldest one in the room for sure. Dang.
There's a tradition. So my organ mentor, my first organ teacher, she actually just stepped down from her multi-decade position at an Episcopal church in Tennessee, and her just as Avery and I are expecting our first child and kind of transitioning into what might new traditions be, one that I would be curious to try that they did every year was after the late service on Christmas Eve, their whole family would go to Waffle House.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And it would be, in the Episcopal church that may be at 12:30 or 1 a.m. And so, but they would go to Waffle House together, and we would always expect the picture of their family at Waffle House. And I was like, if you're going to be bringing in Christmas Eve like that, you might as well go to Waffle House afterwards,
Absolutely.
So so maybe one of these years we'll do some Waffle House. So it's fun to make new traditions.
Yeah, we did that when our kids were teenagers. We started going to like the 11 o'clock Christmas Eve service, so that you'd get out and it's officially Christmas, and we'd go home and I think they'd open a gift, and a lot of times then Andrew would go to bed and we would stay up and just be goofy and then sleep in the morning, and he'd get up really early and be annoyed that we were all still asleep. But yeah.
I contend that probably, I don't know why I contend this, it's just my opinion. I really do believe that for me that midnight, that 11 o'clock Christmas Eve service is probably like one of the more powerful and just meaningful services that like I ever, like, no matter where I am, I try to attend one of those. And now with like kids in the house and stuff, it's hard. Cause you got to get home and get their stuff settled and get their stuff made and everything. But I think for me, like an 11 o'clock Christmas Eve service is probably one of my favorite services of the entire calendar year.
Yeah.
Well, I think the one that they're planning here too, it's different in the way that the service itself reads or feels. It's got a little more seriousness to it. It's got the communion and and then just and I think it is a little shorter too, if I remember correctly from their planning conversations.
Yes, yeah, I'd say it'll probably be with communion. It'll probably be right around an hour. So,
Yeah.
But then to
lots
get
of
out
music
right
and
at
readings, yeah.
at midnight and
Right.
it'd be Christmas. So
Yeah.
I think it's something
It is special. The world is very still at midnight on Christmas Day.
Exactly. It's funny. The other movie everybody talked about was, of course, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, right.
And Philip,
Are we doing? Yeah, we're doing this. Okay.
had not seen The Muppet Christmas Carol until July.
I think I've only seen it once. So,
Thank you. I'm glad somebody else is
I
in
do
my
think
corner
it's
on
funny.
this.
I just didn't. I grew up on other Muppet movies, but we never really leaned into that one.
Muppets was never really something that was a part of my childhood.
No.
Like, it was just one of those things, and then I just caught so much crap for it. And so in our Christmas in July movie night, I finally saw it. It was good. Like, I enjoyed it, laughed a lot. And then our illustrious host over here, for Jen, our communications director, she got me a shirt that says "Light the lamp, not the rat," and it it made my wife laugh a lot. Like when I showed it to her, because she gets on to me all the time because I've seen nothing that she has, and when I brought that shirt home, it just brought her a lot of joy.
That is my hope in life, is to bring her joy.
Yes.
I did brings a story with me and a prop to share about a family tradition. Sometimes family traditions are very intentional.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're kind of more accidental. And I liked, when my kids were little, to take their picture in front of the Christmas tree and, send it to the grandparents, whatever.
Yeah.
So I would make them pose in front of the Christmas tree. And then they reach a certain age where they're like, oh, why are you making us do this? So one year, to motivate them, Andrew decided he was going to pose in front of the Christmas tree in order to, motivate them and show them it was no big deal and make it more fun.
Oh, please.
So he did, and I took this picture, and then I showed it to him, and it's hysterical. And he's like, "You're not going to do anything with that, right?" And I was like,
Oh, but now you have to.
right?
Now you have to.
So it's like a dare. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly.
Yeah.
So I put it on Facebook, this picture of Andrew, and it went big. Like, it was a really big deal. So he came into work the next week, and it was everybody's screensaver on their computers. And then I got for Christmas
Is that
this shirt.
that is adorable. Oh,
So
that's
this
awesome.
it's become a thing now, though, because it'll pop up in my memories.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Remember this?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we
Precious
all remember
memories.
this."
How
So-
they linger.
Right. So it's like, that's the kind of thing when you're married for a really long time that
You gotta make
becomes a
Christmas
tradition.
interesting. Andrew's a good guy. I love that.
I'm about to say he's wonderful.
I kind of like him. So this Sunday is the fourth Sunday of Advent.
It
and
is.
The theme is love, which basically means I go into the Sunday slides and change one word everywhere.
That is.
Everything that says joy, it's now love.
Yeah.
And looking through our order of worship for Sunday, in traditional worship, I believe we're doing a version of "Love Came Down" at Christmas.
Yep.
Is that right?
The hymn "Love Came Down at Christmas."
And I think that kind of sums it up. It's one of those things that we've talked, it's love is the thing that we've been working towards this whole time, right? It's hope, joy, peace. Probably not in that order actually, but anyway, hope, joy, peace, and then it goes to love, to end the Advent season, and I just find it super appropriate, because I don't think you can't tell a Christian story of love without the birth of Jesus. You can't tell that story without love playing a huge part in it. So
One of the ways that Meg plans worship really well is I feel like she has both macro and micro through lines that happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe overt and covert would be better words, where, as you said about, I'm going to go in this week and change all of the joys to loves now, because that's how we often do these seasonal responses. A lot of the hymns also, it's almost like a game to see how many times are we going to sing the word love.
Yeah.
Where there are the kind of the ones that are the more obvious, and then there are ones that we kind of weave through. So Philip mentioned Love Came Down at Christmas, which is literally in the title. The opening hymn is an Advent hymn, Hail to the Lord's Anointed. It's a tune that a lot of people know, but might be a lesser text. But the last line of that is, the tide of time shall never his covenant remove. His name shall stand forever. That name to us is love. So you wait till the last word of the fourth verse of the opening hymn, and you finally get that name to us is love.
There it
it's
is.
like, hey, got it. We made it. But if you actually were to backtrack through your orders of worship because we all keep our orders of worship from this last month, a lot of the opening hymns actually have had that little Easter Advent egg, the Easter egg of
Advent Easter egg.
the Advent
No,
Easter
that's a real
egg
thing. Yeah.
of the word of the day being one of the last lines of the hymn, kind of tucked into there. I think our last hymn is Love Has Come, which is to the tune of Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella. But that one is, every verse starts with Love has come, love is born, love has come and never will leave us. It's everlasting and free. Love is peace in our hearts, or peace that our hearts are seeking. It's the gift of Christmas. And then almost immediately after that is a very well-known organ arrangement of that tune that is a total blast to play, and I've been told is just as fun to listen to. But that's, for whatever that's worth. That's a little bit of through lines we've been weaving. And sometimes we roll with liturgical themes, and sometimes the through lines are the little hidden things that we add in there are not necessarily religious in any specific way. So one of the ones, there's so many different carol traditions between countries, your English Christmas carols and German and French and Italian, and just, American ones as well. And as I was planning my music, I try to pair things together as I can. This last week I did 2 settings of In Dulce Jubilo by different Bachs. Or this week, because it's love, I actually picked 2 French carols as the prelude and postlude because, what is more romantic than French? So I was like, love. So it's just, the things that inspire us to pick the things that we choose. There's a lot of inspiration happening in this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of creativity.
Yeah, it's fun to kind of run with themes and see where they take you.
So I get the opportunity this week to play in the modern worship band, which doesn't happen super often because I'm usually doing something with youth Sunday school or something along those lines. But a couple of years ago, I introduced a song to Ricky called Hope Was Born This Night by Sidewalk Prophets, and it's what's been turned into the Advent response, the lighting of the Advent candle response. And like we do in 11 o'clock, we're changing the words each week, and it's Love Was Born This Night. And even though the song says hope, we're interchanging, but I can't help but think of love was born that night, and like that through line of that, and talking about the glorious night of Jesus' birth, because our first song is going to be What a Glorious Night. And I always try and put myself in what it would be like to be all of the different characters that we see in the nativity story, from the angels to the shepherds to Mary to Joseph, and some are easier to relate to than others, obviously. But what a glorious night that was of God displaying God's love for us. And I don't know that those that witnessed the birth of Jesus knew in that moment how to describe what they felt. But I do believe that love was the crux of it. And so I'm just looking forward to to being in the modern band this week. Because what's a good youth pastor if they don't play guitar, right? No, it's an old joke anyway. I'm just looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be good. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Well, I know that it's always really helpful to know that there are people that can fill in when other people are out.
She's making a crack at her husband because he's out of town. And usually, so Andrew, her husband, plays in the modern worship band. And when he's not there, I'm usually the one to step in. And
you really should be meaner to him about that.
No, I find it hard to be mean to Andrew. I'll be real honest.
I don't. But. Oh, sorry. Let's reel it in.
Yeah, frankly, I was glad that I was getting called in for the love version of this podcast, because at some point in your prompt questions of things we might talk about, it was just what is your understanding of love within Christianity? And I'm just oh great, the tenet of the faith to love God and love others.
Yeah.
I was
I think I can
perfect.
talk.
I can do that. That's easy to talk about. And I do think that there's, as Philip was talking about, there is a lot of power in we spend a lot of time, I think, talking about, even as in this last call to connect thing, that's what we boiled it down to, was loving God and loving our community and our church. And we talk about that, and then all of a sudden we get to experience that love kind of embodied in Jesus, but also that at the same time it is, I think, such a major gift to us of love that we receive, and in the same, while we can be really called to, we ourselves love God and we ourselves love our neighbors, at the same time I think there is this immense love to receive from God in a way that is all-consuming and all-accepting and just very generous. And I think that there is, not to use the other buzzwords of Advent, but there's a lot of peace to find in this season of knowing that love is coming and exists and was born and given for our sakes. So it's a powerful season. I always joke as a musician we do a lot of performances and a lot of services and a lot of Christmas parties and things, but it is the most rewarding season to be a part of, just because of the messages that the music conveys and the messages that we get to partake in. So
yeah. I think it does allow a freedom to have that generosity of spirit, that that you're gifting to people and you're thinking about people and supporting them and helping them, preparing meals and baking cookies and all the things that we don't necessarily do year round. Some people might, but I certainly don't. So
negative.
Just having that opportunity to really be a little over the top with how we share love with people. And this is kind of the season that you see that most demonstrated. Yeah. So I think that is exciting. I think thinking through that question of what does love mean to you, it's something that in my mind people struggle with most often is, we get so busy, we do our day to day, we have all of these responsibilities and, our jobs and our families and things. And so how do you express love in a very intentional and real way to the people around you, especially if you struggle with caring for yourself? And I think there's a lot of people out there who it's actually easier to love and care for other people than it is to love and care for themselves.
Especially in this season, because I think this season can evoke a lot of emotions out of people. They can evoke good memories like we've talked about, but they can also bring up painful memories. This season is really complicated for some people, and it's how do we show them that it's okay to feel these things and show love, and to kind of jump the question a little bit. For me, what does it mean to show love? Man, it's for me, it starts by showing belonging. That, hey, I love you enough to let you know that you belong here, that you belong at this church, you belong in God's world, that you belong to God, and that there's nothing that you can do that can take you away from that love. There may be people, who don't feel that love for whatever reason, whether they've been hurt by somebody else, whether they've been hurt by the church universal, whether they've been traumatized in some ways. And how do we as a church communicate that love to people in ways that are tangible, in ways that promote belonging and healing, and not just superficial things, I think. So.
And I think this is a place that has done a very good job
Oh, yeah.
at welcoming people, loving people, making space for them, helping them to see that they belong here. Very open.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're different. It's okay if you're a little weird. We're all a little weird here.
Trust us.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to hear What is Love? And
Baby, don't hurt me.
Every time, that's what's in my head. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in for our final episode for our limited series, Looking to Sunday, this season of Advent. We really don't know what this podcast will hold in 2026, so if you have some creative ideas about the focus that we might be able to take if we continue to have a podcast, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to email me, jvonessen@johnscreekumc.org. And it's on the website, because you'll have no idea how to spell that. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But thank you both for joining me today.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll hear more from you in the future.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening and being a part of this. We hope that you have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and that you'll tune back in 2026.
Yep.